and welcome back. Welcome back to the Responsibly Armed Citizen Show, the RAC Show, where we talk about all things responsibly armed citizens should know. Fam, we've been away. We've been out doing all kinds of marvelous things. We've been attending classes. We've been enjoying some vacation. We've been getting out of the sun, getting absolutely toasty. It has been a wonderful few weeks, but we are back. We are back to talk with our Responsibly Armed Citizen Show family and all those who listen. But before we go on any further, my name is Frank Horvath, one of the hosts for the Responsibly Armed Citizen Show, and joined with me in studio is our other host, Mr. Tim Kelly. Tim, how are you?
I'm fantabulous as always.
Fantabulous as always. Like I said, we have been away. We've been on vacation. So, Tim, how are things been going for you?
My brain is fried.
Yeah.
There is just so much. Everything just seemed to just get extremely busy, at the beginning of the month. Everything just absolutely blew up. So we've had, after the homeschool conference, then we had, David Yamani was on the show, and we had ended up going on a family vacation. And then there was the IEP, the Instructor Enrichment Program that we had.
Yep.
That was a huge event, man. Like, there's so much that goes into that program.
Yep.
And then, a couple of weeks go by. That's when I went on vacation after that.
Yep.
And then, after that, it was Tom Gibbons brought the Range Master Protective Pistol Craft Instructor course. That is a 5-day program. Starts in the middle of the week. Man, that was different.
Yeah.
That was very different. I mean, on top of going to school and everything else,
right.
It's just a ton of stuff.
Yeah, I ended up taking a vacation right in the middle of when you guys were doing that pistol craft class. And man, I tell you what, it is. I'm not one for the beach. We end up going to the beach, and I don't like sand, but that's me. But the kids and the wife, that's something that they absolutely want to do, and went, and I had a lot of fun watching the kids. I did a very, very, very poor job of applying any kind of sunscreen at all. And man, I got toasty. Like I got bad burnt.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of burnt that you attempt to lay in bed and you're like, no, I'm gonna lay on my belly tonight. Like this ain't gonna work. Anyway, so enough about us. Enough about things going on in the personal world. Man, there's just so much that's going on. There's so much really neat things that's happening around. The training industry, a lot of neat things that are happening around, as far as courses and classes, and there's a lot of really good things that are in the works. The 4th of July is coming up, right? Mm-hmm. Big American holiday, and what better way to celebrate a big American holiday than with big guns, big training. So I think we're going to talk a little bit about that. But it's nice to be able to just kind of break away. It's nice to be able to just veg a little bit, celebrate a little bit of time with family. It's nice to be able to get together with friends when you're doing these courses and these classes, things like that. And it's definitely something that people should consider. Should be something that people should think about and put more priority on.
Man, I'll tell you, just running your own business, a lot of people think that because you run your own business, you have all this time off, and that's not the case. Not if you're running it successfully.
Right.
You don't really have the luxury of having time off all the time, anytime you want. And a lot of times that interferes with, family relationships and friendships and stuff like that. And, one of the reasons why we decided to take a quick vacation was, a good friend of mine was graduating from college down in Jacksonville, Florida, and he earned his bachelor's degree. He's a hardworking kid.
Yeah.
And I call him a kid. I guess he's in his 30s now. It's crazy. But anyhow, I decided to go down there and watch him graduate. And he was only a couple hours away from some of Teresa's family. So we decided to take a family vacation and go down there and spend it on the coast. And man, we did all kinds of cool stuff. We got out on a boat. I got sunburnt too, except mine was from just above the elbow, just below the elbow on one arm. And that was it. The rest of my body was fine because I was a little bit under the shade and the boat and that sort of thing. But no, we had the kids went crabbing. They did all kinds of cool stuff, man. We just had a great time.
That's awesome. It's something that is always interesting, to consider, right? Is, carrying right? Being a responsible member citizen when you're in a place like that, like when you go on vacations, when you do things, it's challenging to have a concealed carry when you're rocking a Speedo. Yeah. And let's face it. Yeah. So, there are things that, you definitely have to consider. There's different ways that, you need to pivot and plan. Yeah. And a lot of people don't do that, right? They're, you know what? I'm on vacation. I'm just going to leave this in the hotel room or whatever it is. Yeah. I'm going to leave it in the unsafe, hotel safe that's already there. There's a lot of little things that you should really plan on, that you should really think about. How are you going to be carrying, what you're going to be carrying, if it's even appropriate for you to be carrying in certain places. What are alternative plans? What's your med look like? A lot of people, when they go on vacation, they tend to let their guard down a little bit. Right. And when they do that, they're starting to, they're creating holes in their emergency plans, right? They're creating holes and they're not properly planning in the event something were to happen. Let's say we're going to the beach. What's more likely going to happen? Somebody's going to come up and assault you, or are you going to have a traumatic medical emergency? Right?
I'd say a medical emergency is going to be a lot more common. Like somebody in the neighboring area on the beach, sharing the beach with you, ends up having a heart attack or a heat stroke or something like that, and having the ability to handle that in a timely manner would be really important.
Or if nothing else, at least having a plan. Sure. Right. Having some idea of, okay, where are my people? Like how because look, you're going to a beach or something like that, and you got people that are everywhere, right? Sure. Where are your and your loved ones when this emergency is unraveling in front of you? Right. What if it's one of your loved ones who's having this emergency? There's definitely things to think about there. There's some deep thought that really should go into, some pre-planning that should go into that. And I witnessed it firsthand where there are some people who I would say I would consider in their regular everyday life responsible armed citizens, just kind of let their hair down and things kind of pivot and change away from the norm. Man, that's dangerous. Yeah, that is extremely dangerous.
Escaping to a utopia, essentially, is that's what you're trying to do. And as much as I can respect that, as much as I would love to just be able to completely let my guard down, man, in a completely foreign place where I don't know the people and I don't know the area, it's not the place to do it.
See, and for me, my mindset on that is, because it's different, because it's a completely foreign place, because I don't know what I don't know. Right. That's where I feel like my guard is up even more. So sometimes it's challenging to to relax. So it's one of those things where there's a fine line. There's we really have to dance. You got to play that game a little bit of, hey, I'm on vacation. Hey, this scenario is going to be much more likely than anything other. So I'm going to make some personal decisions based off of, my personal abilities, skill set, whatever it may be. Right. And what I'm doing, and kind of go from there. So, what are some of those things? And I think we'll talk about a little bit in the next segment. What are some of those things that we're on vacation, right? We're ready to go off and, let our hair down. We're going to, go about our day. What are some of those, small things that we can do that may potentially be out of the norm for our regular everyday carry, right? So I'm talking, if you're in a swimsuit, again, it may be challenging, maybe difficult to have that concealed carry on your person, but there are definitely ways that you can go about, still having that tool available, or a suite of tools available to you, such as med and gear and things like that. I definitely think that's something we should dive into and quickly discuss, especially since vacation season's up. And let's. I definitely think it's something we could dive into. So, you're listening to the Responsible Armed Citizen Show. We're talking about all things responsible armed citizens should know, and we'll be back here right after the break. And welcome back to the Responsible Armed Citizen Show, where we're talking about the responsible armed citizen and vacations. Different thoughts, different things that you can do when you're out and about, when you're ready to let your hair down. Just a couple of just some quick considerations, things that, tips and tricks, things that we use, when we're on vacation, and, you may just be a little bit out of your element, right? You may just be, new place, new, just something different. So there's a change in your routine, we'll say. So, jumping right back into it, we're of course talking about the beach as of this very second, right? But this really can apply to anything. Some of the things that I personally use when we're talking about, going to a beach or going swimming, right? Going somewhere where it may be difficult to have, that concealed carry firearm on your person, is using, some sort of fashion of off-body carry. Right. So having some sort of bag, having some sort of, equipment, something like that, to wear more, even a fanny pack, some way that, you can still have, some of that critical gear on you, or, on or about your person, but you still have that ability to be able to get, use that gear if you needed to. Right. Now, something that don't miss, don't take me out of context here. You absolutely need to maintain control of that gear. Yeah. You absolutely need to maintain, you need to be right there. So if you end up, saying, hey, I'm just going to jump in the pool for a second, I'm just going to leave this bag unsupervised, laying in the rest of not a good idea. No, don't go down that rabbit hole. Don't go down that trail.
Man, a lot of folks can get wrapped up around the tactical Timmy stuff. That's not what we're talking about.
No.
I mean, when you're talking about going on family vacation, I mean, we carry a Band-Aid kit, right. Different stuff. Your kids are going to get into, getting scratches and bruises and stuff like that. Carrying a medical kit, carrying, different tools that you might need.
Yeah.
You might need a multi-tool or something like that to fix a screw that broke on your chair or something like
right.
that. Whatever. Just having some kind of kit there with you. One of the things that I would say is, as far as tips and tricks for the audience, things I would avoid is black in color. I would avoid black because it gets really, really hot. So if
right.
you are going to the beach or something like that, it's also starts to look tactical. So if you've got something that's got the Molly wrap, the military,
on the outside, right.
the military look, stay away from that type of stuff. Make it look like a standard beach towel. I mean, if you're a responsibly armed citizen, you're trying to blend in with the crowd,
right?
And not look like
tactical Timmy.
Yeah, not look like, well, that guy over there, I bet you he has a gun,
right.
Or even, I bet you that guy over there has a, wad full of cash in his bag.
Right.
You don't want to, look like a
tourist,
prey, yeah.
Prey, right.
So, those are some of the things to try and stray away from. Now, off-body carry is really tricky. So if we start to step into that gun talk, like you're going to carry your gun on the beach, man, it's a really difficult thing to do in swim trunks. It's impossible to do in a bikini or something like that. Right. So, getting away with that, it's just not. It's
not practical.
It's really not practical.
Right.
And nor would I really ask that of anybody. I mean, there are ways you can trick the passerby's eye if you're trying to carry on your person, rocking an Enigma or something like that in swimming trunks and deep concealment. You can do that. But man, if you want to have a gun on you, having in a fanny pack, something like that, where it's still on your person, but it doesn't look like it doesn't stand out like a sore thumb,
right.
Like that dude's definitely got a bulky gun in there or something.
And to add to that, don't just go off and decide, hey, I'm going to rock a fanny pack, or hey, I'm going to rock this, off-body carrier, this purse, or whatever it may be. Man, get some training with that. Yeah. Like, you need to get some reps in being able to draw quickly, draw safely. You need to get some reps in, making sure that things are set up the way that they need to be set up, so that you're not having unexpected oopses while you are depending on this particular tool.
Right.
Far too often we'll end up seeing somebody go, I'll stick it in a bag, and then if we get them on the range and they practice on the bag, they're like catching it on literally everything, because it may not necessarily be set up appropriately, right, for their use. So, definitely put some thought into that. Like I said, what's more likely to happen, right? So, having that med gear, having that medical plan kind of laid out, having other tools, like you said, the multi-tool at the particular beach that we were staying at. Every evening there were guys out there who were surf fishing. right? So they're, casting out these rods. Man, how likely is it that they lost a hook out there, right? In the surf. So, I mean, it could be very easy to where, you catch a hook or something like that, and, or a bad burn or, something, right? There's, medical is going to be far more, I think, important than, other things. I'm not saying don't be prepared, right? So have plans, have other alternative means, but, there are definitely better ways of skinning that cat. Now, something that we haven't talked about yet, right, is going to be, what about your home? What about your home? Right, you're on vacation.
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
you're out in the middle.
OPSEC.
You're OPSEC. Right? You're out in the middle of nowhere. Right. You're doing your own thing, and you have your whole family posting on social media. Oh, we're having such a great time at the beach, right? And you got some other turd who just is a friend of a friend of a friend who can see your posts or whatever it may be.
Right.
And if you don't have things set up properly, you may be even posting all this stuff publicly.
Right.
And they go, oh, well, they're not home right now. Yeah. So I'm going to go help myself, to whatever is at this particular location. I'm not going to have any issues, so there's definitely things that, you must plan for when you do something like that.
Sure.
When you're vacating your home, when you're deciding to, go on a vacation or something like that. Making sure that things are locked up, making sure that things are put in place, having a plan with your family to say, hey, look, while we're on vacation, don't take as many pictures as you want, but don't post anything.
Yeah. Wait till you get back.
Yeah. Right. That's something that we practice on the regular, is wait till you get back, and then you can post all the memories and things like that for the trip. But while you're on that trip, it is very, very, very important to make sure that, you're not announcing to the world, hey guys, we're, living it up down here, and all of our responsibilities back home are free and open to the rest of the world. That's definitely something that a lot of people don't consider.
Sure.
And, it's almost comical in some ways. So, you'll hop on, Facebook or InstaFace or whatever it is, and you'll go through and say, all right, well, such and such is on vacation. Okay. Yep. Such and such on vacation. Oh yeah, I know where they're at. So, if hypothetically, if you were a bad guy, it's easy pickings. You could just, go and, take a vehicle or whatever you wanted to do. And then, you as a homeowner wouldn't know until you get home, right? If you have some sort of security system or, vehicle outside, like there's more chances of something, negative to happen, that outcome, than if you just waited till you got home and then made your post.
Right.
There's definitely things to think about there. So when we're talking about, vacation, we're talking about carry and things like that. Something else that I think a lot of people should consider is the heat, right? It is so stinking hot. North Carolina, I read today, is in a drought in all except for one county, right? So in 99 counties, North Carolina is in a drought. Man, it is hot. Yeah, dude. Last week it was hot. So dressing appropriately, in this heat, there's a lot of guys, we had talked about it before, the tactical Timmy's types, right? I'm absolutely guilty of this, of wearing the same hoodie every single day. It's just, it's just the way that I dress. But, there's a more appropriate ways of carrying, and there, especially in the summer. Right. And there's things where, a firearm or something like that, some gear that is on your person can be hot, and it can be uncomfortable, and that could cause some issues and discomfort. And, you may want to move things around and change things around based off of that uncomfortableness. Yeah.
I mean, I even got on Derek Watkins about that yesterday. I mean, this dude's pushing, a bunch of students throughout the week in private sessions. And I'm like, bro, it is 100 degrees. Like I'm looking at the temperature right now. It is 100 degrees on this range, and you're wearing a black shirt and blue jeans.
Yeah.
Why? Get yourself some thinner pants. And I was pointing him to a couple of pair that I ended up buying on Amazon. He doesn't like to wear shorts. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Buy thinner pants, because that stuff will sneak up on you really quick, man.
Oh yeah.
If you're not careful, you can overheat, and the range is definitely not the place for that.
No. So I vividly remember it was a class. I think it was Kent Hauer. It was a super hot class. I think it was his defensive pistol metric course, and I was on the line, and then all of a sudden I was like, man, I don't feel great. and the heat just snuck up on me, right? So I was in the middle of a string of fire. I just holstered. They finished up the string of fire, and I flagged Kent down and said, "Hey, man, I need to go sit down." So I just backed off the line and went and sat down. But
I remember that, man. That was such a tough course as far as heat goes. It was a great class, but it was, oh my gosh, it was so hot.
Yeah. And like I said, that kind of stuff happens literally to anybody. You don't have to be old and frail. You don't have to be super young or anything like that. Like, it happens to literally anybody at almost for any reason. But that heat can definitely slip up on you. Humidity can definitely slip up on you. Making sure that you're keeping yourself hydrated, things like that.
Sure.
Those are all great things. All great things to consider. Man, speaking of heat, we have some awesome classes that are coming up. The Zach's shotgun, teaching the American shotgunner, right? So he's got that class that's coming up.
You're helping him though, aren't you?
I'm helping him. Yep. I'm helping him with the history portion. That is next weekend. So it's next Saturday. And I am stoked. I cannot wait for that class. Now it's most likely going to be hot, and we still have a little bit of time to kind of figure out, look at the forecast and all that. It can change at any given moment. But I'm really excited about some of the fun things that we're going to do in that class.
I'm excited. We've been talking a lot about family vacations and that type of thing, but
that's a staycation.
Can we talk a little bit more about shotguns? Because I really think that the responsibly armed citizen should know a lot of things.
Oh,
about
absolutely,
shotguns.
and especially when you're talking about like 4th of July, you're talking about big booms,
man, this
right?
is gonna be
You're
great.
talking about all kinds of loud noises, and we have some things planned. We have some fun. It is not going to be your average shotgun class.
Yeah. Well, when you hear that, folks, that would be a cue. You need to sign up for this class. You don't want to miss it and hear about the story later, because it's nowhere near as great whenever you miss that. You want to be present for those types of things.
Yeah, we got all kinds of gear that we ended up picking up specifically for this class. Again, it's going to be a little bit out of the norm for a normal class, but we have some things that we have picked up. We're challenging everyone when they come and take this class to wear something that is patriotic, red, white, and blue. Whether it's shirt, whatever it is, and we're going to talk a little bit about it when we come back.
Welcome back to the Responsibly Armed Citizens Show. My name is Tim Kelly. With me, I have Frank Horvath, and we have been talking about everything regarding the responsibly armed citizen. And specifically, we've talked about family vacations and, different types of summer carry and vacation carry, different tips and tricks on some of the tools that you might need to carry to the beach with you, or, that type of thing. But now we've kind of switched gears a little bit, because Frank has my attention. We're talking about this American shotgunner course that we have coming up next Saturday.
I'm so stinking excited. I can't control it.
I need to know more about what's happening here.
So, all right. So, Zach is our shotgun aficionado at Apache. Yeah. He's put together some fantastic courses about, how to control a shotgun, how about, sighting things in, different uses for a shotgun, home defense, whatever it may be. What's, tailored more around self-defense. That's kind of our go-to, our mantra. Well, Zach comes up with this idea of, hey man, we got 4th of July that's coming up. We have, big American holiday. What better platform for us to really, reach out and talk about than the shotgun, right? It's the only firearm that's Biden approved. I mean, that's definitely kind of, the whole mindset, the thought that we're going on. So, I got you there. So we're throwing ideas back and forth. We're talking about all kinds of different things, and we're going to have a whole history section that we're going to talk about the history of the American shotgun and really how that applies. We're really going to dive into how to control a shotgun and with kind of the mind thought, the premise of home defense, right? That's kind of our go-to, and then to add the 4th of July flair. We have some extra activities that we're going to be doing, on the range safely, while, using our shotguns. So there may or may not be, large jugs of water that's colored. There may or may not be just some fun stuff, just some fun, wholesome family activity type stuff going on. All that revolves around the shotgun.
If I could just have someone at least to show up and make sure that they clean up their mess afterwards, that would be really appreciated. Really appreciated. No, this sounds like a great time, man. I'm planning on being there. I've got a whole bunch of stuff going on, but I'm planning on being a student in this class because it's great. You know, the whole idea for shotguns and home defense, you know, we've talked about this at great length behind the scenes about why we should even consider it, right? Because we try to think in a practical sense. Mm-hmm. What are you more likely to come across?
Right. And
you know, early on in the development of Apache, one of the biggest things that I had come in my way it seemed like every week somebody was like, "Hey man, you were in the military, you want to teach me CQB?" And I was always like, but why? You know, like why? Why do we need to teach you CQB? And it wasn't practical at the time. Hey man, can you teach me how to run this AR and do this and that? But why? And it just wasn't practical. And it took me a while to come around to the idea of injecting long gun training at Apache, because my mindset is you are more likely to need your hand, or you're more likely to have your handgun on you.
Yeah, and have it available. Right.
Should you ever need a firearm to protect yourself. So why not put your focus on mastering that over everything else?
Right.
And real proud of Zach. I mean, when he approached me with the idea of doing shotgun stuff at Apache, you know, one of the things that he brought to my attention was like, man, this is North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got grandpappy shotgun.
Right.
Like it's practical.
Yeah.
It is practical. And it is something that we should be implementing in our training, because, you know, people they may only have like a rabbit ear double barrel shotgun or something like that at the house. Either way, they need to know how to use it, especially if they're planning on using it for home defense.
Right. You know, and the other thing is it's not like politically demonized, right?
Yeah.
So generally speaking, right, shotguns are pretty universal. Like there's a lot of people who are, you know, very like they're okay with a shotgun, right? Because, you know, that mental image is, you know, wooden stocks, you know, like a double barrel break shotgun or something like that, you know, some variation of that. And they're not wrong, or, you know, even the classic pump shotgun. They're not wrong. And that, you know, if you have this that has been handed down to you, if you have this tool that is just laying around the house or whatever, maybe, hopefully it's not laying around the house, but you know, that you have access to, you know, if you don't understand like how to use it and what a significantly successful tool that could be, you know, in the event that you need it. And I'm not talking just about, you know, like, you know, a violent action against you. I'm talking about like a dog or something like that, right? Having something that, or I don't know, an animal, a rabid animal, something like that. Yeah. You know, we're talking rural North Carolina and for the most part.
Right.
And there are instances where that is such an effective tool and potentially effective deterrent, to where you can help, you know, mitigate some risk there without too much training. I mean, in an afternoon with Zach or I, and we can have most people spun up fairly quickly on being able to adequately use and deploy a shotgun. You know, with a little bit of training, you can be, you know, very proficient, like significantly proficient. You know, when you're going through and working through, you know, a lot of the techniques and a lot of the ideology that's around the shotgun, you know, the not to mention, I mean, just not even to mention the sport behind it, you know, shooting clays, right? Shooting ducks, shooting, you know, other, you know, hunting type activities. It's just fun. Like it is a fun tool. It's fun to be able to just go out, you know, and you know, bust some clays, you know, in the air. It's fun to be able to get together with friends, and you know, it's just it's an all around like just enjoyable experience. Now, the piece that, you know, a lot of people are timid about when it comes to shotgun is they think, oh, shotgun 12 gauge, that means power. Oh, it's going to kick a lot. It really doesn't, you know, and it doesn't, you know, what kicks is improper technique. Right. What kicks is, you know, not, you know, being able to control a shotgun appropriately, not because you're too small, not because you're too weak, but because you don't understand the fundamental foundational way of, you know, applying technique to the shotgun so it doesn't hurt.
Right.
And I remember, the shotgun was one of the very first, platforms that I ever picked up. I remember, just, going in our backyard and just wasting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of birdshot rounds, just shooting at dumb things like cans and little clay pigeons and things like that, little clay, skeets. Yeah. And I didn't understand proper technique. And I remember having this massive bruise. I'm right there with you. My mind goes back to, taking the Range Master shotgun instructor course that we took. Dude, that was 3 days. I'm pretty sure there was like 750 rounds of birdshot, 250 rounds of buckshot, and at least 50 slugs that we sent down range. And I come home and didn't have a bruise on my shoulder. Right. I wasn't sore, nothing. If anything, it was just I was a little fatigued from having to bring a heavy gun up in front of me over and over and over again. But that was over the course of 3 days. You're talking about in this class a 4-hour workshop. Right. You're not even going to touch that number, or come close to that. I think here you mentioned a while ago about the sporting aspects of shooting a shotgun, mm-hmm. and I think where people start to fall apart is the defensive aspects, and they confuse some things like, well, I hunt with a shotgun. I know how to run this gun. And man, I've been around some dudes that duck hunt and they can run a shotgun. Yeah. I absolutely run a shotgun for birds. Right.
When you start saying, I'm going to use this thing as a tool for home defense, man, there are so many different considerations that don't roll over.
Not at all.
And you need to be aware of that. Take, for instance, I've done a handful of home security consultations, just going in, checking out the rooms and stuff like that, giving them some pointers on like how to harden their defense mm-hmm. and, what to do if they encountered some type of break-in and that type of thing. And both of the two homes that I've done the security consultations for had shotguns. Mm-hmm. Both of them were loaded. Mm-hmm. And I tried to explain to them that you cannot keep this gun loaded.
Not
this
at
thing
all.
And just lean it up against the wall.
Not at all.
You do not want to do that. It could be something as simple as rolling over in the bed in the middle of the night and bumping it, and it falls over. There's a high probability that it could go bang.
Right. Shotguns are not drop safe.
Exactly.
Right.
So I mean, that's just a small piece of, why it is imperative to go and get some training for the defensive aspects of shooting. Even if you do have a foundation of hunting with a shotgun, if you've had a foundation, that's great. That means your handling skills are going to be exceptional, mm-hmm. and you're going to pick up on it so much faster. Honestly, I feel like the shotgun is really easy to run too. Like once you start to get the hang of it, you pick up on it so quick.
Yeah,
quick.
And that's one of the really cool things that I like about shotgun, because it really doesn't matter. It's male, female. I mean, there are females out there that can absolutely run the shotgun significantly better than their male counterparts. And just like we've talked about this on the show before, they don't have a lot of that extra baggage that's in their way, so they're more open to trying out these different techniques and things like that. And, I'm saying technique, but it's nothing mind blowing, right? It's just, this is where you place shotgun. This is how you, put pressure here, that kind of thing. This is how you press trigger. But, fundamentally, it's the same across all platforms. Right? Press trigger, don't disrupt sights. Now, the way that we're going about, utilizing this and the whys of, why we're choosing this platform in this particular type of scenario, why the shotgun is such an effective tool for, home defense or for self-defense, in and around your home is, it's because it's such an easy platform, right? Yeah. It's, you have, multiple points of contact. You're able to, effectively place rounds on target with, relatively minimal training comparatively to like a handgun or comparatively to a rifle. Depending on the loadout, depending on the rounds that you're choosing to use inside of the shotgun, it may suit you much better than if you were out somewhere else. So let's say you live in an apartment complex, something like that. Depending on the round, right, depending on the location, it is significantly less likely that it's going to cause, harm to your other neighbors and things like that. It's less likely that it's going to cause further damage than if you were to use a rifle, than if you were to use a handgun. Again, everything, that's not,
there's a lot of variables.
There's a lot of variables there. But generally speaking, with the right loadout, with the right, competency, and it's an extremely effective tool.
The right home defense plan. I mean, there's a lot that goes into the home defense plan there, and being able to pattern your shotgun and know exactly how it's going to perform in that type of environment. I think that's really, really important. Something that just kind of gets tossed to the side.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of assumptions that are made. And then, I think we could talk a little bit more about the myths and assumptions of the shotgun. We can talk a little bit about that when we come back from this next break.
Yeah.
All right, man.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Responsibly Armed Citizen Show. My name is Tim Kelly. With me, I have Frank Horvath, and we've been talking about everything regarding the responsibly armed citizen. This show's been great. We've been talking about summer carry, vacation carry, different tips and tricks there. So if you missed out on that, make sure you revisit some of our previous shows on the WSIC YouTube channel. And if you have any questions on anything that we're doing, make sure you take a look at emailing us at rac@apacheNC.com. That's rac@apacheNC.com, or give us a phone call. Our phone number is 336-422-6859. And let us know what you guys think about the show. Let us know if you have any questions or if there's anything specific that you want to talk to us about. And so now
let us know where we're sucking.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Right now we're on the topic of shotguns, and this is all spun off of Zach's class that he's got coming up next Saturday on July 6th, the morning of July 6th. He's going to be teaching an American shotgunner class, and it's very much based around the home defense aspects of shooting a shotgun with a patriotic twist. So when we left off from our last segment, we were talking about different myths regarding shotguns. We already covered, shotguns are not drop safe, and it's really important to pattern your gun, that type of thing. But what are some of the other myths out there regarding shotguns?
Yeah, there's quite a bit. The idea of, without getting too graphic, the idea of, I only need to, you only need to run slugs, or you need to alternate, slug, buckshot, or something like that. That all comes down to just some tactical Timmy nonsense, right? So, if you understand patterning, if you understand what, that platform, what the shotgun can actually do, if you understand its effective distances and ranges, that is what's going to determine like your loadout and what you're going to be doing and what you're going to be using it for. For example, we have some guys that are, they live on a farm. They're in the middle of, 100 acres, and they use a shotgun with them everywhere, and it's to dispatch down animals, right? That is their primary focus. That is the primary tool for this. Shoot a coyote or something like that, right? Or a downed cow or whatever it may be, right? So they're not going to be alternating anything, right? For using this particular platform, they're going to say, okay, well, if I'm shooting at a particular coyote and it's going to be typically at 100 yards or whatever it may be, then they're probably going to be running slugs, or they're going to be tailoring the use of that shotgun to, and the holes, the rounds that they're using for that shotgun for its particular specific use. You really need to be careful about a lot of the gimmicky stuff that's out there with shotguns.
Dragon's breath.
Oh, there is so much gimmicky, just garbage that's out there, especially around shotguns, where there's these specialized shotgun rounds that have some variation of slugs and buckshot and pennies and all kinds of extra junk that's in there. But when you actually take these rounds, when you actually take them to the range and actually pattern them, all of this extra crap that's in there just wildly throws your point of impacts just kind of all over the place. So instead, a real good shotgun, a properly zeroed shotgun, and ammo that works specifically for your particular shotgun. Don't let me forget about that. We're going to talk about that next. You should be able to, at various distances, at least at 20 yards, you should be able to put a fist-size hole. Right. Not a single flyer, not a single round that's outside of that hole. A fist-size hole, in a target. Now, the reason why you should know that you can do that, or the reason why you should know that your shotgun and the ammo that's in your shotgun can do that, is because you've patterned it. Yeah. What a lot of people, a lot of the misperception is, I'm just going to buy whatever's on the shelf and that's good enough. Well, the problem is, every shotgun barrel, the way that they're manufactured is different. Right. We can both have identical shotguns. We can both have, Beretta 1301s. We can both have identical Beretta 1301s. Hell, they could be one sequential serial number off of each other. Right. And both of them will shoot just a little differently because there's minor imperfections in the barrel that are variants between the two, identical model shotguns. Yep. And yours may like a one particular brand of buckshot, and mine can like a completely different brand of buckshot. And it has everything to do with how tight a group, how tight ballistically we're able to keep and maintain those shots all on target, all in one same place. The idea of, it'll shoot anything, it'll accomplish whatever I need, while it will shoot anything, but the likelihood of you hitting your target's not, right. It's kind of all over the place. But, you had also mentioned like Dragon's Breath. Mm-hmm. There are so many just gimmicky garbage that's out there. Is some of this stuff fun to shoot? Absolutely. Like there's a lot of fun shooting something like Dragon's Breath, that magnesium, powder or whatever that's outside the shotgun, igniting that. Like it is absolutely fun to shoot. Mm-hmm. But that's what it's a novelty. For use in a self-defense situation, hard pass, hard no. Look at rock salt. That's something else that, a lot of people, rubber bullets, things like that. Mm-hmm. There are uses for that stuff. It is not in self-defense. If you're planning on using a shotgun in self-defense, you need it to do one particular job, and that's to stop the threat.
I had a conversation with a guy about rubber buckshot a while back, and he was suggesting that, this is a less lethal tool. You can hit him hit him in the chest with that, and that'll stop him. No. Yeah. That could kill somebody.
Absolutely.
It actually there's a high probability that rubber buckshot is going to kill that person if you shoot them in the chest. Right. Rubber buckshot is meant to be shot on the floor of a prison floor to, disperse riots and that type of thing. Right. Or out in the streets in a riot, as riot control, it's meant to be bounced off of a hard surface and strike people in their legs. And that's how it makes it a less lethal tool. The other one that's really, really big, and I get tired of talking about it, but birdshot for self-defense.
Oh, man.
Just don't. Just don't. And if whatever logic you have in your mind, just throw it out the window. It is not worth it. It's not meant for self-defense. It's meant to wing birds. It's not even meant to kill birds. Right. It's meant to wing birds. That's what it's designed to do.
The crazy part about that is, and I can show you guys, if you can end up coming to, like a private session or class, and if it's something that you can stomach, like I can show you all kinds of videos, all sorts of, just evidence of why using birdshot is not an effective tool. It's not an effective round for, self-defense. And then, in addition to that, we've also heard about, using things like rock salt as a deterrent against, people.
Right.
Again, it has its place, but it's not in that realm. That's not something that, you should really go after. For a deterrent at an animal or something like that, maybe. Right. There might be, a situation for that out there, but generally speaking, in the realm of self-defense, in the realm of home defense, it's not an appropriate tool. Yeah. There are better alternatives to that. Because you absolutely could be, you may have the intention of just trying to scare away this threat.
Right.
Right. But if in the manner that you're going and using to scare this threat, you may be putting yourself at some more significant legal problems down the road. I don't
want to scare anybody. I want to stop them.
Yeah,
stop them.
Well, not even anybody. You want to stop the threat.
Right.
Right. You want to make sure that threat, whatever that thing that's coming after you, whatever is looking to do you harm, right? You want to say, okay, threat, bad thing, whatever that's happening to me, I want it to stop now.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Right. There doesn't need to be anything else. There doesn't need to be any other, fluff and stuff.
I think this is a really appropriate time, since we only have about a few minutes left, to go into our competency of the month, and we can kind of continue down this. Down this. So our competency of the month this month is to explain the importance of shot placement and the consequences of missing.
Oh, yeah.
We could roll right into our conversation about shotguns and the importance of patterning your gun. When you talked about earlier about the inconsistencies of shotgun barrels, Zach told me one time that he has 2 Beretta 1301s, both very high quality defensive shotguns.
Yep.
And he said one of them prefers Federal Flight Control 8 pellet and one prefers the 9 pellet.
Yep.
Well, it's common knowledge in the training community. It may not to be to y'all folks, the theory of the 9 pellet flyer. So essentially, what happens is there's 9 pellets, approximately the size of a 9mm projectile or a 380, and it's there's 9 of them inside this shell, and so you have all of these things spreading out and deviating in space depending on the distance. And what happens a lot of times is in flight, the 9th pellet tends to fly off. Mm-hmm. So you'll have a perfect fist-sized group in the center of your target, and then there's one little guy way over here, right, and it's way off the target, and that's typical. He showed me that his 8 pellet actually produced a flyer in that shotgun. When he took the 9 pellet through it, it was fine. Yeah.
So Tim or Zach and I actually sat down and worked on this a little bit too. It wasn't just the Flight Control 9 pellet. It was the Flight Control 9 pellet with the hypervelocity. Yeah. Right. So the little, again, there's just a little bit more powder. There's a little bit more power that's behind that particular round. That's again a purpose-built self-defense round. But the how much explosive power that is, inside of that powder that's in that hole, that, variance that, right? So if you put the low velocity 9 pellet, you got that 9th flyer as well, right? Sure. In that particular shotgun. So, it is so important to be able to understand or to know what the pattern of your shotgun is and what that 9th pellet's going to do. And you got to do it. You got to go out there and find out more.
It's not like it's a pellet or a BB leaving the gun. It's another 380 projecting traveling at a very high rate of speed.
It's just like you missed your target 100%, exactly. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's out there. All right, guys, that's all we have time for today. You've been listening to the Responsible Armed Citizen Show. We're going to look forward to talking with you guys next week. Stay out there and be safe.
See you guys.
See you guys.